Thank you. Thank you. Actually, having to speak after Martin, John Pienaar, and the speaker, I thought it was going to be a tough act. But I have to say, the bar has been well and truly set by Kieran. I thought that was fantastic. It was only last year that I was stood here talking about one of the most unexpected stories in UK sporting history, Leicester City winning the Premier League. And I remember saying at the time that actually the goings-on in this place over the preceding 12 months were even more unexpected. We'd had the EU referendum, we'd actually had the prime ministerial change, and an election for the Labour leadership. And you could be forgiven for thinking that the next 12 months would be a little bit more normal, but thankfully for anoraks like me, it's been anything but normal. However, some normality has been restored to the world of football. As many of you know, I'm from Manchester, and Manchester again looks down on the rest of the country from the summit of the Premier League. And I have a few words of comfort for my friends in the audience that support clubs from London. If you read the Premier League table upside down, actually it looks better. And John has disappeared. He's a big Crystal Palace fan. It would look fantastic for him if he read it upside down. John Pienaar.
Oh, John Pienaar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, on to tonight. We at KPMG are proud of our association with Patchwork. As it's been said, we've been involved right from the beginning of the journey. What Patchwork does is very important to KPMG. Engaging young people from all communities to engage in politics and in civic society is, of course, the right thing to do. But actually, it's underpinned by sound business principles. It makes business sense. The work that Patchwork do raises the aspirations of young people and helps to remove barriers in their way, opening up access to careers in the civil service, in politics, and in the business world. And I've actually seen myself over the past 6 years how patchworkers have graduated into the fast stream of the civil service, are advising some of our more senior political figures, and are actually now with blue chip employers. Careers I'm sure that they would not believe were attainable without people like Harris and organisations like Patchwork opening up their horizons. And I'm sure that these youngsters will now become the role models for the new generation within their own communities. And two examples of my own show the power of the sort of work that Patchwork do. 6 years ago, Harris arranged for a group of us from the business world to a school, to go and speak to people at a school, to speak to students at a school in East London. This school, mainly people from second-generation Bangladeshi backgrounds, and within a stone's throw of the gleaming towers of Canary Wharf. Actually, from the room that we were talking to the children and their mothers, you could actually see the KPMG building. Yet, for these kids, those towers were 1 million miles away from, in their own minds, were 1 million miles away from their own surroundings. And certainly for the mothers, they didn't believe that their children belonged there. But actually, one or two of us from an immigrant background, when we started talking about our own journeys, they actually, for the first time, started to believe that what was impossible may just be possible. Another example was of our involvement with a girls' school, an Islamic girls' school in Blackburn. Again, these girls that attended the schools thought that a career at KPMG or any of the big four accountancy firms was impossible, wasn't actually even on their radar. Now, this is a school that not only is the top school in the borough, but is probably one of the best state schools in the country. And again, we invited a cohort of girls to our offices. We asked them to speak to our staff. And actually, as a result of that, 3 of those girls are now pursuing careers within the Big Four. It's the first girls from their communities to do so. So, as I said earlier, the work that Patchwork do is really important to KPMG. If we have our offices in successful communities where youngsters believe that they have a real stake and one in which that they can fully contribute, then it's obvious that those communities are successful, our business is going to be successful. And we also want our staff to reflect the communities within which they operate. And again, it's not only the right thing to do, it makes business sense. we have a wider talent pool to recruit from and access to a wider and greater client base. We want those girls from Blackburn to think that they have the same right to a career at KPMG as anybody else from any other community. And together with the work that we do with Patchwork, what we also have done, we're the driving force behind a new initiative called Access Accounting, which now opens up the profession, the accounting profession, which many thought was a preserve of the few, an initiative called Access Accounting, to many from all parts of the community. And we were also very early adopters and very strong supporters of the living wage, recognising that pay is actually important in a fairer society. And also, we're proud to say that we were the first winners of the Queen's Award for our work in relation to social mobility. Now, that's great, and it's a great reflection on the work KPMG does, but we can and we want to do more. And the reason is not only because it's the right thing to do, but it makes great business sense. So that's all I want to say. I want to thank you all for attending. I want to congratulate the award winners. They've certainly gone above and beyond in supporting underrepresented communities. But most of all, I want to thank Harris and the Patchwork organisation for the great work that they continue to do. Thank you.
Siddiq, thanks very much for those inspiring words, and thank you also for the example